So, today we are going to learn showing front and back of the drawing file, how to create an arc, I can't even spell here, for embossing. Embossing on both sides, filleting, and revolving. So the first thing we're going to do is showing the front back in a drawing file. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go to File, you need to go to the Place Views, select the base. And then in this case, I already have the tire project selected, but wherever you find that, you're going to find your tile, you're going to open it. And then if you look at this box, I can move it into the front view, right? So I'm going to go ahead and scale that up or scale it down to the size that I want, or change the size. I'll make this like 8, just so that I can make it a little bit bigger. I press OK, and then I have my first front view. Now that's fine and dandy, but if I try and project these objects, a lot of people are having problems with showing the sides or showing the top, and that's not what we want. So the trick here is to create another base, and then use this cube here to rotate onto the back, and then it'll show that specific back view. You can then place that, place it right here, and then press OK. And I'm going to delete this one because I don't need that one. And then I'll move this one up, and now you have your back view. Now another problem that I'm going to see, and a lot of you guys are going to see, is these hidden lines are kind of like all over the place. There's too many of them. The hidden lines, if you double-click, I kind of went through it fast. If you double-click here, it's not going to do anything. But if you double-click where the crosshairs are, basically it'll show you this prompt. And the wireframe hidden lines are right here if I scroll over this. If I deselect that and press OK, what it'll do is it'll allow it to stay without the hidden lines. If I double-click this one as well, take away those hidden lines, then it'll show just the piece. This one's a little small, so I'm going to double-click that one again, and I think I made this 8. So I'm going to make that 8 as well, just to stay consistent. Move these around so that they look pretty. And now I can project off of this one on the side here, and as well as the isometric. Right click, press create. It'll generate that concept. You might notice that in here, this one I want to be colored, so I'm going to go hidden as well as shaded. Press OK. And then I'm going to double click this one, and I want the hidden lines there, but I can't do that because it's hidden. So what I would do is I can delete this one, and I can create another base if I want to kind of cheat the system. Go to the right, show it, change the scale to 8 again, just to stay consistent. Press OK, and now I can modify, and you can see all those hidden lines. Now I had a student ask me how they're going to dimension these hidden lines. There's a lot of hidden lines here. So the best way to do it is just to find the specific ones that you want to modify. I'm not going to show you how to section this out, which is what you would do in a realistic view, but we're going to go good on that for now. So I got this one done. Showing in front and back in a drawing file is good to go. How to create an arc for emboss. So if I go back to Inventor here, and I go back to this tire, what the easiest way to do it, I'm going to look over here to Emboss, and I'm going to open this sketch that I've already created just to recreate and kind of show you. What the easiest way that I like to do it is, the circle is already created to create the extrusion. The easier way to do this is to do an offset, which is right here in Modify. If I use offset, what it'll do is it'll make a specific circle that's parallel to the circle that's already created, and then I can create a solid circle. Now the problem is if you use that as your geometry, it's not going to allow you to emboss or to write text onto that line. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw a line that basically anywhere that you want, it doesn't really have to be precise here, just a random line, press create or OK, create another line that's over here in La La Land, press OK, and then I'm going to trim everything that I don't need. So in this case, I'm going to trim around that big circle. I'm going to trim here, this big circle, and I don't need any of this. And then I can just go back and delete these lines, and now I'm left with what I need, which is this arc. From there, you can watch the other video that I showed you on how to insert and wrap around geometry or text. It's called geometry text, which is right here. I select that now new geometry, and then I can go in through inside and make my text and my embossment. The next thing that you're going to want to see is we got embossing on both sides. So if I go back to Inventor, I'll finish that sketch and just ignore what I just did. The easiest way that I kind of would do this, and again, there's many ways to do the same thing, I would just use the circular pattern that I've already taught you once. If you go to circular pattern and select the embossment that you have checked, select the rotation axis, which is just this outside, and then manipulate it only twice, it'll create a mirror image on the other side. You press OK, and then basically you'll have, and it won't let me do it because I already have mine, but realistically it'll show you both sides of that same embossment. If I go back, filleting. So I have, let's say, a edge here that needs to be filleted. A fillet is basically just creating a edge and allowing it to be curved or rounded. So once you have the solid mark, I have an edge right here. Fillet is up here in the top. In Modify, once I click that, you'll see a radius right here. Once I click the edges that I want to create a radius for, I am going to modify this radius so that it'll work. So a lot of times when you don't have a lot of material, you'll have to make it super small. So I'll make this 0.05, which is not even small enough, 0.005. And as you can see, it arcs that specific thing. And then I can do another arc. I can do multiple arcs at the same time. Press Apply. And what it'll do is actually, as you see now, it shows that that piece is now arced. One thing that a lot of people, I didn't show this before, is if I don't want this view to look fake, I want to look realistic, I go to View, Visual Styles, and then I can go to Realistic, and what you're going to see now is what the curves would actually look like in real life if I wanted to 3D print this or whatever the circumstance was. So that's filleting. Revolving is the last one. That's a completely new thing. So let's say I want to start a new 2D sketch. That's the first step. I'm going to create a new 2D sketch just on this surface just to show you an example. And what the difference is here is that a revolution, it's what it's short for, is basically revolving a section of a part. So what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw just a basic line. This is going to be my revolving axis that I'm going to revolve the piece around. Then I'm going to create from that geometry just a random aspect. And in this case, I want to create a tire. So I'm going to use an arc here after I create the other line, that is. Make those semi-even. And then I'm going to create an arc from this point to this point and make an arc maybe like this. Now I have this object. Now the new thing is once I finish that sketch, you're going to see up here in 3D Model, there's Extrude, what we've been using, and then Revolving. Revolving is allowing this section, so I'm going to select Revolve, and the first thing I want to do is I want to join. So I'm going to select the profile, which is going to be this profile, and I want it to revolve, completely wrap around this axis. And when I do that, it creates a full tire aspect, and now that arc that you guys did and took all the time to do is literally done in one step. Okay? So that's it for that specific video. If you have any questions, email me.